know Andy invented a new product? And he's going to travel door to door selling it.
Like Avon? Or brushes or something?
No, not even close.
You seeing anyone?
Are you seeing anyone?
Please don't be disgusting. I thought you were seeing that girl with the exotic name.
Bethany? Dad died when I was 8 years old. You haven't been on one date since then.
This is you worrying about me. You don't have to because I'm fine.
Look, I'm not going to say that this is the most Jewish movie ever made, but it's the most Jewish movie ever made. I'm
Pretty
sorry.
goddamn close.
Adam Sandler's not even in this. Oh wait, he's more of a anti-Semitic.
Somewhat, yeah.
He's like the Jew who hates Jews.
You know, and I'm his biggest fan, and I forget the guy's Jewish. I'm in Jewish denial
really?
when it
He
comes
tries
to
to remind you in every fucking movie.
And that's the part I don't listen to. I don't. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what's wrong with me.
Well, even Woody Allen somewhere is like, I don't understand why I wasn't in this.
Well, when he explains it to you, he makes you go, "Yeah, I don't get it either, dude. I don't blame him."
And let me say this. I am convinced, because this is indeed produced by, what's his name from Saturday Night Live? Lorne Michaels.
Okay.
He's one of the producers here, along with a lot of the people involved who've been involved with some of the Saturday Night Live spin-off films. I'm convinced this was at some point along its history a script written for Mike Myers' Jewish talk show character. You know,
yeah.
Excuse me,
Coffee talk lady.
the coffee talk lady. I'm convinced it was a vehicle for her, and that it's been through a couple revisions since then. Got in the hands of Dan Fogelman, who supposedly is based on a real life trip between him and his mother. But whatever.
Yeah.
And the story here follows Seth Rogen, of course, who is still looking skinny, despite his claims that he was like, after the Green Hornet, I'm gaining it all back. Well, he actually looks pretty good.
Maybe it was Jonah Hill who said that.
Right?
That would make more
Because he
sense.
made good on that promise.
And then
some, yeah.
he plays a guy who's he's got his master's in organic chemistry, and he's developed this organic cleaner that he's very proud of, and he wants to sell it drive across country, place to place, going to Costco sales meetings and that sort of thing, trying to convince people to buy this cleaner. Our first stop on the trip is to stop off to see his mother, played by the great Barbra Streisand. And I'm not saying that ironically. Barbra Streisand really is fucking great.
She is great. After watching her tonight, I realized, man, she is what they call a seasoned actress.
Well, though, I mean, I've never understood why people decided to just hate her, especially the South Park guys, and make it like a national thing. Because I've always thought she was wonderful.
Well, she's
I
wonderful.
love her.
She's a great actress. I mean,
I genuinely love her. Like,
every
I would
once in a
marry
while,
her.
I get
Jesus
a little
Christ,
irritated.
calm down.
Every once in a while, I get a little irritated with her rhetoric outside of acting, like the stuff she says, where I'm like, I was with you up until a certain point, and then you went too far.
I don't know what it is about her and her husband that she likes hanging around. Who's that
James
dude?
Brolin?
Yeah, James Brolin. I don't know. There's something about when I see them together, I get mad and I turn into the South Park guys. Maybe that has something to do with
What
it.
have they done?
Because I guess they're just hanging out, trying to be happy together. I don't know why that pisses me off.
How dare
it really
you?
pisses me off. Yeah. It's like watching like somebody's parents just hang out in Hollywood. Like, will you just go home and take care of your kids?
You're like, wait a minute.
You can sing and you want to be happy? Fuck you.
Yeah.
You've been a Hollywood couple for how long?
Yeah.
I'm sorry, no.
That's fucking obnoxious. I'm sorry.
How dare you?
But anyway, so Rogan shows up there, and he's obviously right off the bat, he's got a contentious relationship and a cliched relationship with his mother, who is the Jewish mom writ large in every way. She's like, eat, and oh, have you been taking care of yourself? You're too skinny. I mean, like, she is the full package of every cliche you've ever seen.
She's a mother who won't shut the fuck up.
Exactly.
That's who exactly she is.
Only not quite as annoying, if only because she's played by Barbra Streisand, who is very funny, comedic actress. But as he's planning to leave on this trip and is grateful to get get her out of his hair, curly as it may be, she reveals to him a secret that when she was younger, before she met his father, who's now dead, she was in love with another man. That she first wanted to marry her, and he said, "Go to that other guy. I'm not ready to get married." But that somewhere in her heart, he was always the man that got away, the one that got away, that her first love, and in fact, Seth Rogen was named after him.
Ooh.
Yeah. Where the whole time when you watch that scene, you're like, all right, lady, shut the fuck up.
no kidding.
Because I'm sure there's a few of us in this room who've probably been through that shit. It's like, look, when we pop out of that fucking vagina, that's all. That's where your world begins, and that's it. You know, until you're dead, that's the beginning and that's the end. You were never a person before that. All right, so shut up.
Well, I'm gonna make up my own story about my name. I got my own thing.
So Seth Rogen spent the rest of the trip going la 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 la.
Well,
pretty much.
That's the thing is that
I can't hear you.
He invites her to go on this trip because he finds out that the guy in question is still alive and living in San Francisco, which is on the other side of the country.
Yeah.
And he does a little bit of like self-searching and he goes, oh, this is going to be horrible. It's going to be horrible, the idea. It's going to be the most painful thing I ever did, but I'm going to ask my mom to go on this road trip with me in a rented car, cross-country, while we stop at all these places where he makes his little business stop-offs to make his pitch, and just so I can trick her into getting a chance to see this guy again.
Do you want to come on my trip with me, Mom?
You want to drive cross country with me?
Yeah. No, it's, we won't be gone long. It's only 8 days in a car together.
Wait a minute. I want to make sure that I'm hearing this correctly. You want to spend a week in a car with your mother?
More than anything in the world.
Don't you think I might get on your nerves a little bit?
No, it was just a thought, and if you don't want to do it, then fine. I don't want to push you in.
What? Am I so awful that you can't spend a little time in a car with me?
I'm inviting you. Do you want to come with? Do you want to drive across the country with me?
Well, I'd have to reroute my mail.
You have 5 seconds to tell me whether you want to go or not.
I can't wait. What, are you kidding me?
Because his dad's been dead since she was 8. I mean, it's like
geez.
time for her to move on.
Since she was 8 years old? Is that
No, since he was 8.
That's gross.
Yeah, I know that is. A little weird. She gave birth when she was. No.
That would have made it an interesting movie, but yeah.
Yeah, it's science fiction, I guess. So you get this dynamic right off the bat where there's this guy who's martyring himself, which, like I said, is a very Jewish movie. And the first 40 minutes or so, I was pretty irritated with, because it's Seth Rogen just huffing and hawing about every single nag that this woman gives to him. And she is very naggy, make no mistake.
Yeah.
But the problem is it's Barbara Streisand doing it. And Barbara Streisand is so likable as an actress that despite the fact that she's being whiny and nagging and irritating, I still couldn't help but take her side.
Yeah. Well, it's because you realize she's not coming from a mean place with it. She's just doing her part, being a fucking mom. That's all she's doing. And yet, that's kind of the thing where at first I was like you. I was in that position where I'm like, okay, I'm just not liking this first 30, 40 minutes. But it made me realize maybe I'm not liking it because it's so goddamn true. It's where the truth fucking hurts, where you realize, man, I'm a robot. I've never had a mother, but if I did, there's a good chance I probably would have treated her the same way. Where she's nagging you, she wants you to fucking blow your nose, quit looking stupid, comb your hair, just learn how to be a better human being. And the whole time, and the whole time you're just going, look, you just leave me the fuck alone. I ain't 12 years old. Shut the fuck up, all right, lady. Christ, woman, will you quit looking at me like I'm stupid? And that's kind of where he projects. He is projecting kind of an asshole son, but at the same time, I was like going, no, this is very honest. I mean, I think a lot of people hate seeing something like this because it makes you realize, man, am I this much of an asshole to my mom? Because I can say I've been there,
Well, yeah, because it's very different when it's a personal experience. I mean, like, we do take our parents for granted, that's for sure, to some extent. I mean, it takes a while in life till you finally turn around and go, man, you had to put up with a lot of my bullshit, didn't you?
Oh,
yeah. Do we get constantly hit by him feeling that way, but other people going like, oh, your mom, she's so great.
Well, not
And he's
really.
like, no.
Not really. I mean, a tiny, tiny bit. But ultimately, it's not very long into the movie. I mean, we're like about 40 minutes in when the film goes, okay, we're getting sick of that too. Where they have their crisis moment, which usually happens at the very last, the middle of the third act for most films like this. And they go, you know what? Let's try and just get along from here on out. And the movie gets significantly better after that.
It does. It turns into a good road trip. It's not like Beavis and Butthead Do America. It's just, it's like, wow, this is kind of, it becomes an endearing mother and son road trip movie. And I like that its heart was in the right place, and it seemed very honest with these characters, where I'm like, man, this seems so mature. And at times where it feels like somewhat predictable, you don't mind so much because the characters, Seth Rogen and Barbara Streisand, are so charming when they're together.
They have great chemistry.
They really do have great chemistry to where it's like they're not really like trying to force the comedy.
Yeah.
You know, this is a comedy, but you feel like the movie's not trying to force it on you. You know, Barbara Streisand, I'm sure the other actress with the lines that she had to say, even when she is trying to be funny, any other actress would have fucked him up. With her, it just comes completely natural. Like it's like, man, I want Barbara Streisand to be my mother now. I don't want to fuck her like you, Leon, but I want her to be my mother. You know, but you know,
I want both. How about that?
or okay, well, hey, if you want to take it to the Game of Thrones area, sure. But you know, it was that thing that it started to win me over because you know I was when I realized what we were about to see. I was not looking for it. I was like,
No.
oh God, this is. You're looking at the audience. Every fucking mother who didn't give a shit about their kid tonight was just in the theater, and they were like really charged up, looking forward to this. And I'm just like, this is gonna be just a pain in my ass.
Yeah, talk about
having
the
to sit through.
Talk about the cliches. We had like the two black women from the book of cliches sitting behind us, going, "Oh, girl, you know what's going to happen now."
Oh, yeah.
And doing stuff like, "Do you see them shoes she had on?" And I was like, "Are you fucking kidding me right now?"
It's like with the shoes. I felt like I was like in like they were watching Blue's Clues or something. They were like figuring out the most obvious shit, and like telling each other, "Oh, guess what I figured out, girl? Because it's right there on the screen." Like, come on now,
The map.
stop being that cliche, black people.
Now, I don't want to be too kind to this because even as much as I felt like it did brighten up at that point when they started getting along, I feel ultimately it's still kind of a piece of fluff, really. There's not a lot of really deep stuff going on here, and I want to emphasize that the first 40 minutes or so were so irritating as to where if I hadn't had my girlfriend with me, I probably would have walked out.
No, you wouldn't.
No, I really hated it
Really?
for the first 40 minutes. I was like, I like Barbara Streisand a lot, and I can tolerate Seth Rogen and like him in some things, but this is just every bad Jew joke you have ever heard about Jew moms just collapsing in on itself and creating
Jewish
a
moms.
black hole of black
Jew
hole
A black hole of Jews.
of Jewish jokes.
That's a shortened version of Jumanji where a bunch of monkeys come out and start roaming streets. Come on.
That would have been better.
But I mean, I just was super not enjoying it. I was like, oh my God. And plus the fact that Rogen is such a dick to her, you know, I'm just going, yeah, okay, yeah, she's naggy, but you're not dealing with this right.
You know, that's so often the case when you see older, you know, kids or people deal with their parents, where they often are to the point of you going like, Jesus, you're being such an asshole.
It's true.
And they're like,
Yeah.
you don't understand. You haven't grown up with this. You don't know. It's like,
Yeah.
all I know is I see you being an asshole to the woman who gave birth and sacrificed everything for you.
And that's what it's coming across to me, right? But I found that, like, if it hadn't been so broad in its humor, I might have gotten more of a thing of, like, you don't understand, I've had this my whole life. I didn't feel that as much as maybe the movie wanted us to. But once again, once it brightened up, you know, you are a little charmed, and I will hand it this. It went up an entire, like, rating, basically, from the very last acts, one of the final things it does, with this little bit of like a twist that I should have seen coming and I totally didn't at all, with that related to something that happened very early on in the film. And I was like, you know what? That was a beautiful circular thing this film just did that actually kind of made me feel good, kind of raised the hair on the back of my neck, and that sort of like, that was that sweet that it did that. So I'm going to actually, you know, at that point, I think I was just like a low rental, actually, even before that. Because before that, it was some old bullshit. And I was like, okay, you're getting up to a rental, maybe a low rental, because there's stuff I like that's happening here, but I'm still standoffish. But I'm going to go so far as to actually give it a low matinee because of how much the last 15 minutes or so of this film increased my estimation of it.
I'm glad you're being honest. 'Cause, I mean, as much as, you know, when I look at the cast, when I look at the poster, like you couldn't drag me if you had a gun up my ass to go fucking see this movie. And once I realized that, wow, somebody actually made an honest movie. Well, at least as honest as you can get with Hollywood, you know, an honest, just, you know, mother-son road trip movie that actually had some parts that were really charming, were pretty funny, and it did make you reflect kind of. I mean, I'm glad that this goddamn Wikipedia says that, you know, whoever wrote this, they wrote it from experience, from their own, you know, road trip with their mother. I was like, you know, that makes sense, because I mean, there were moments in there where I'm like, ooh, I've seen some of my friends, you know, have these kind of conversations with their mothers, and it's always hilarious because, yeah, when you realize, man, dude, you're being a dick to your mom. It's like, well, you can fucking have her. How's that, pal? Yeah, you fucking live with her for fucking 30 years. I'm like, you know what? Never mind. I'm an idiot. I forget. You know, but the fact that, you know, it is kind of, you know, putting the mirror up to sons out there, I thought was pretty clever. And like that last bit, I mean, that was really cool what they did. That little like turnaround. I'm gonna give it a matinee. If you know, it's fluff, but I tell you what, man, Barbra Streisand, she got that fucking magic going on. She got that Yentl magic where it's like, you know, you think you see one thing, and it's a whole nother thing. You're like, damn, all right, I like you, lady.
I'll say it right now. I wish I had a Jewish mom. I do, because they feed you a lot. I will take that food, and it will be worth every bit of nagging. So, are you doing good? Are you in school? Yep. I just say yup to everything.
Man, if you had a Jewish mom or everything else,
eating.
You'd be floating around here like Baron Harkonnen.
You see Cyrus over there with a mouthful of matzo balls.
Right.
That's hilarious.
Matzo balls are good. Jewish people know something about cuisine.
Hey,
have you ever had potato pancakes? That shit is good.
They know plenty
Let me
about
borrow
balls.
some lox and a side of macaroons.
I always wanted to see the Grand Canyon.
I know.
How long are we supposed to look at it?
10 minutes? Seems disrespectful to look at it for any less.
But who'll know?
That's a good point.
It was the last time I was ever their daughter.
What a nice chapter.
He's a beautiful writer.
It's okay. I picked up a hitchhiker.
Hi.
Well, I'll give you my number, and you give us a call when you're in town.
Yeah, you guys should probably keep in